I wanted to come on here, and I just watched a video on YouTube yesterday from WTAF, and apparently it looks like they obtained 2 letters from Letecia. I think one of their members had written Letecia, and she finally wrote them back. And so I'm just going to kind of give a Cliff Notes version of the letters. Basically, as we all know, she's still claiming she's the innocent one. So, of course, pity, 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 pity me is what she says, or basically that's what she says. But let's go on. Letter one, it was very brief. Letecia says that she'll be able to see her favorite place soon, and my assumption is she's speaking about Myrtle Beach, the beach, because of her family being there, and that she'll be able to eat seafood, and she did put seafood in all capital letters. But she says, when I get out, I can't wait to go to the airport, visit my family at the beach, which again, I'm assuming it's Myrtle Beach, and eat seafood in all capital letters. So she really wants seafood. And then she says, I will, of course, go to Florida too. She speaks about reading a lot. She says she's a huge fan of James Patterson, that they have some of his older books there. And she also says that her daughter Harley sends her books, and that she just finished the book, The Beach House. And she's read a few of the chicken soup books. I think that's the chicken soup for the soul books that she's referring to. And she says people in prison are treated better than people in jail, that the presumption of innocence doesn't exist. And then she states, she goes on to say she'll never collect off of this. She says that she'll win one heck of a case against CJC for the abuse and the amendment violations and false arrest. She also goes on to say that she plans to donate it to preventing these things from happening to anyone else. And that's really all that I gained from that first letter that was read aloud. It was just a very short letter. And the second letter, she does go on to say a little bit more about growing up and then self-defense, but she says that she's always been religious, that she actually grew up religious, and speaks of how it's just her, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit every day. She speaks on self-defense, says persons should have means to protect themselves. Self-defense isn't always a pissed-off love, but most times it is. And that's her statement. It can be a normal situation going bad. One has to defend on their life. She says, I get it. I've been there. So I'm not certain what situation she's been in or what she's trying to say, because she specifically wrote, I get it, I've been there. And then she goes on to say the world doesn't appreciate stay-at-home moms, stepmoms, etc., that you live under some perfect microscope, and heaven forbid you make a comment about, quote, me time, unquote. You know what happens? It's a shame, is what Letecia says. And then she says, for reference, I'm assuming, it's just, she tells us to look at the Casey Anthony and the George Zimmerman case. And then she mentions another, and I've not seen the letter up close, so I have not been able to decipher what that word is, but she does reference another case. And then she goes on to say there's such a stigma on mental health, and that she says she's had to hide what she needed because she had to be a perfect mom, treated like, a perfect mom. And then she says she was treated like an oppressed stepmom. She spent so much time helping others that she didn't get to help herself. And she says a jury is able to see the pain and the suffering. The DA does not care, basically, that the DA paints a monster no matter who you are. And then again, she says she's done so much for others. She's been a pillar in her community back home. She's worked many Special Olympics, helped students and elderly with special needs. She's raised money for fire victims. She says she can keep going, but I'm a monster, is what she's saying. I'm not, and they'll get to see that. I'm not a monster. And then she goes on to speak about spousal domestic abuse. She says that it's serious, and she 100% knows that, and that she has been a victim. And then she goes on to say the struggle is preparing for his will. And then she goes back to saying she's going to start on a nonprofit for new creatures for Christ, about someone who found Christ in jail. Although she says that she knew Christ growing up, she wants women to know that they can't find emotional fixes to completely fulfill in men. Life, drugs, marriage, but that fulfillment is a loving Christ. Again, her words. She says, I'm a teacher by nature and would like to be teaching to abused women who fear mental health therapy and stepmoms about how no guy will love you like Jesus does. So, of course, she's still going on about the mental health, and obviously, you know, she's probably going to stay on that because she wants to convince everyone that something's wrong. She's already said that she has bipolar, that she's not been treated for it. And then she does say also, that it was kind of interesting, she mentions that Palm Beach and Destin, and both are in Florida, that's her favorite places in Florida. So I don't know why she would mention Palm Beach and Destin, what the significance is there. But again, I feel like a lot of others, that there's so many truths in her lies. And then she mentions again the beach and seafood, so she really wants some seafood. And then she does sign off by saying that her freedom is coming. So I think that Letecia really believes that she is going to be getting out of jail. And again, this letter I've seen on WTAF's channel, and I'm just kind of breaking it down to what they talked about, what the letter said. And they said she did sign it. L. Stauch is what it looked like. So no Dr. Letecia or Dr. Stauch, just L. Stauch.